Good afternoon, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome back to Valley News Now. Talking with the great Doug Lear. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Adam. Good to see you. Good to see you.
It's a little cold in here today, isn't it?
It's a little cold in
Yeah,
here,
you got
out
warm
there.
hands. I got cold hands. I've been here in the studio, but yeah, it's cold. We're going to be talking about that too.
Well, yeah, 'tis the season, and I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of people that are disappointed, frustrated, and with the snow and the cold and the ice. But the other side of it, there's a lot of people that hunt deer and pheasants that have been waiting for this.
Yeah.
I mean, that beautiful white canvas that's out there. Now, when you go out there, the pheasants, I mean, they just light up like a Christmas tree out there.
True.
And the deer, you can find the tracks. You can see where the deer have been walking, where they have been at, where they haven't been. The colder weather, the wind, that kind of makes animals feed a little bit more. So there's a lot of things. It's like a lot of things in life is you can sit there and be frustrated and disappointed with it, or you can say, okay, what can we do? How can we use this snow, this cold, to our advantage? And that's what a lot of hunters are looking at right now. Going, okay, it's here. Let's go out there. Let's figure out how we can put the odds in our favor using this to our abilities.
And you brought up some great points too. We're talking about some ice stuff later, which I decided we're doing later as of 3 seconds ago, because I think we're steering into a fun conversation. You brought up some good points. We're talking about some ducks, some geese.
Yeah.
Also talking about that final weekend of deer hunting. But yeah, I kind of like what you're saying there about kind of using that to advantage, because the camouflage is gone. Deer, they can hide in the trees and stuff. Now everything's just a white canvas, and same thing goes with the birds.
No, you're exactly right. Is 24 hours ago, if you were driving out across the prairie, everything was brown and gray. And quite frankly, that's the ultimate camouflage for the deer. Is they're just blending in. They're blending in with the old corn stalks. They're blending in with the cattails, the CRP, the grasses, the trees, the woods, which makes it a little bit harder for hunters to find them. Quite frankly, people like to maybe drive out, sit there with some binoculars, kind of spot across there and look around and see. And now that you put a white canvas on the prairie, those deer and basically just about everything else, we've got ducks and geese that are moving, we've got pheasant season open, and everything's going to be, have that white background. So it's really going to shift odds in favor of the hunter.
Yeah.
So not just visually, but then also we talk a lot about wildlife activity. Where are they going? What are they doing? And why are they doing that? Well, when the temperatures get colder and we get some snow, they need to go feed. Just like everybody's heading to the grocery store.
Right.
So are the deer. They're heading out there. They're heading to the grocery store too. So they need to fill up. They're moving a little bit more. We're heading into our last weekend of deer season in North Dakota. And for those guys and gals that haven't filled their tag yet, maybe haven't been out, maybe strategically wait, because a lot of the deer tags are filled. A lot of the hunters are done. You got a little less competition out there. You go out there that last weekend. On top of that, you've got some better field conditions. So if you haven't filled your deer tag, there's a lot of reasons to get out there this weekend or tomorrow or whenever you have a chance. Our season closes on Sunday, a half hour after sunset in North Dakota. And who knows, you could hunt to the last minute of the last day and find that buck of a lifetime. And the difference between eating tag stew and eating deer sausage can actually happen, Sunday night at 4:30. So there's a we can give you an excuse to take some time off of work and to get outdoors. We can always do that.
And that's one of the many things you're good for, is getting people an
I got a lot of
excuse for
excuses.
that. Yeah.
I'm not sure your boss is going to buy it or your wife or your spouse is going to buy it, but I'll sell it.
We'll keep giving them to you.
Right.
So it sounds like, the work smarter, not harder crowd, maybe waiting for the fourth quarter here.
Yep.
Better visibility, less crowded. That's very interesting to hear. Okay, I like where your head's at, Doug.
Well, we're trying. We're trying, because the big thing for our hunters is opportunity. And, we put a lot of sports analogies out there. Sometimes you got to create your own opportunity.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to just see, okay, this is where the hole is, and this is where you got. Maybe the play wasn't designed this way. Maybe this isn't how you were thinking it was going to shake out, but this is what you got in front of you, and you take it, and after that, it's up to you.
There's a lot of audibles, a lot of improvising in the game of life.
Yeah, it's not hunting. It's not outdoors. It's life, right?
Yeah.
Life is about improvisation.
Yeah.
Just like when you woke up this morning and you're going, whoa, I didn't know I was going to have to shovel this morning. I didn't know it's going to take me an extra 15 minutes to get to work, and it's going to take an extra 15 minutes to get home from work, because I'm here to tell you that the side roads are still icy. I was just on it. Interstate was looking good. Side roads are still a little bit icy this afternoon.
And luckily for me, I did know, because Russ Thomas, he told me everything I need to know. He'll tell you everything you need to know if you tune back in maybe around 2:30, 3 o'clock. But that's a story for another time.
The hair. It's the hair. Guys,
someone thought he was you out at Concordia. Did you hear about this?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he was on a live shot a few weeks ago, and someone came up to him and thought he was you.
I hope it was a good thing.
Two of my favorite guys.
I'll be like, "Fat Doug Lear." Next thing you know, some guy's throwing down on Ross. I'm not him. I'm not him.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't take your deer tag away from you. It's not my fault. I'm just the reason that it snowed.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, two guys that can easily be infamous between taking away deer tags and making it snow.
There's a lot of bad that comes from the weatherman and the outdoors guy. There's a lot of bad news.
And weather and outdoors, they go hand in hand.
They do.
So,
they do.
Now we're talking about some of the deer stuff, and I have a feeling I know where this is going, but some deer have been coming back with bad meat, smells bad, looks gross.
Yeah.
I'm suspicious. Is this a little CWD?
Well, it can be just about anything.
Okay.
Quite frankly.
So it's not just the chronic wasting disease.
We're not gonna back ourselves into corner just on that. Okay. We're gonna take a step back and look at the big picture, whether it's ducks or deer. Specifically, we get a number of questions that come in during deer season. Is you shoot a deer, it looked fine, you walk up to it, and deer get sick just like you and I. Deer get diseases, and deer die of natural causes.
Yeah.
And sometimes what might look healthy is you walk up on it and there may be a growth on it. You may get it home and you may start to process that deer or take it in, and something just doesn't
Something's not right.
Right, something doesn't look right. Something
stinks.
Something doesn't smell right.
Yeah.
Trust your nose.
Okay.
Just like a lot of other things in life, if you walk into a room and you smell something, that smells like gas, not the time to light up a cigarette.
Yeah.
Not the time to do that. If something doesn't look right, something doesn't smell right, it's your choice if you want to consume that, if you want to process that. Our suggestion is not to, but where we come into play is when somebody says, "Man, I shot this deer, doesn't look right, doesn't quite smell right, can I get another tag? Can I get a refund?" The deer tag gives you the legal opportunity to go hunt. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a shot at a deer.
Right.
Doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a big buck or a big doe.
Yeah.
So it doesn't guarantee the size of the deer.
The health.
Doesn't guarantee the health of it or the quality of the meat. So unfortunately, that
nothing
does
you can
happen.
do there.
No, and then if you put yourself in our situation, well, the next thing you know, if we started a policy accepting things like that, everybody's
slippery slope, man.
It really is, because then this deer, something didn't quite look right. Well, maybe to you, but to us it looks fine. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't have as much of a gray area. It's got to be black or white.
Also, you're not a Walmart. You know what? I'll say it. I know. I feel like you maybe want to be a little more politically correct. I'll say it for you.
Yeah.
You're not a Walmart. Hey, I don't like this towel. It's got a hole in it. Okay, cool. I have 37 more in the back. It's a deer.
Right.
You had to go and you had to shoot it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a product that you guys created. It's a living being.
Yeah.
You're going out there. You're doing the hunting.
Right, and it's the same.
Sometimes you just get bad luck, and I am sorry if that happens to anyone, of course, as I'm sure you are as well. But there's nothing you can do to do that about it, and especially when we kind of consider some of the things you've talked about, how there's a limited amount of tags, trying to get the population to go back up. That's one of those things where you can do a small positive, do right by one guy, and you might be doing wrong by a lot of others.
Yeah, and it can happen with fish. It can happen with pheasants. So, you catch a fish and go, ooh, that thing isn't quite right. So
don't eat it.
Right.
I've done that. I've been that guy. I caught a fish up in Island Lake in Colorado. I took it home. Maybe it wasn't Island Lake. It was somewhere.
Yeah.
Fishing on top of a mountain. Living the dream, my man. My friend Greg rented a boat. We caught a whole bunch of stuff. I got this rainbow trout. I take it back home, and it was disgusting.
Yeah.
And I think it was pregnant. So that was not good.
You'll never forget it.
Yeah. And,
for all the wrong reasons.
And it was like, we had such a, his girlfriend at the time, we had fish in this like unbelievable meatloaf with crushed red pepper.
Oh yeah, fish loaf. Yep.
And no, not with the fish, with the meatloaf. No. We had the fish and a meatloaf.
Oh, okay.
We were going crazy. It was like a big old feast kind of thing. Anyway, meatloaf was great. Separate story.
Gotcha.
Fish was gross. Some of the fish was good, but some of the fish was gross. Don't eat gross fish.
No.
Don't eat gross deer.
Lutefisk. Don't do it.
When I'm doing the thing and I say, hey, Greg, this one I should have said
right
back to the river with you.
Yeah.
Or just not kept it at all. It's up to you.
It
you
is.
know?
It really absolutely
If
is.
something smells bad, don't eat it. That's just a good rule in life.
I mean, this isn't kindergarten.
Yeah.
We don't eat glue.
Use your brain.
Right.
Come on.
So again, we understand how disappointing it can be. You wait 5 years to draw a deer tag. You finally shoot the deer and then you walk up to it and it's got a growth, it's got a cancer, it's got something. That stuff happens. But the unfortunate part of it is we don't offer refunds. We don't say, go out and shoot another deer. That's just the blanket policy on that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
sometimes life isn't fair and the world is mean.
Yeah.
That's a Sturgill Simpson song. Pretty good jam.
Blue Stem?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, were you there? I told you I went there. You didn't go there, though. No.
No, but you told me you went there and you said check out his music, and I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I listened to you.
Heck yeah.
I listened to you.
I listened to you, and I'm going to continue to listen to you about some of the ice safety advice that you're about to give me.
Boy.
Because we're getting ice. I feel like I'm going to go off on an uneducated limb here and say it's probably not a good idea to get out on the ice yet.
We'll watch you go on the limb.
It snowed. Probably don't drive your truck out there.
Not smart to go on the limb.
Yeah.
Not smart to go on the ice.
Not yet.
But
wait a few months or whatever, a few weeks.
I mean, and the nice thing is, as Russ would tell you, is when we start getting cold for a couple days and a couple weeks, and obviously this is not current video, but this is what you do. When we start getting a week of freezing temperatures, you get a spud bar, that's called a spud bar, and you check the ice thickness wherever you go. A lot of times you're going to have thinner ice in your cattails because they absorb the sun, and that makes for weaker ice conditions. But once we get some colder temperatures, and this is for ice fishing, this is for pheasant hunting, because we have hunting seasons that continue on until January, and we don't want people walking out on that ice because you say, oh, I can get to the other side without having to go around. I can go right across.
Yeah.
And we finally started getting cold temperatures. And sometimes you whoa, it's cold. And there's snow and there's ice. And there's going to be ice on the ponds. There's going to be ice on the sloughs.
It doesn't mean it's ready for you.
No, it's not ready for you. I don't even have to go out there and check it. It's not ready for you. But one of the problems that we run into now with deer hunting, with pheasant hunting, upland game seasons, not just the ice fishing part of it, is that snow covers up like open water on sloughs and on creeks after it freezes up. So putting snow, well, we would have better, we can't create it, but would have been better if we would have been cold for a week and then put snow out there. But when you mix snow in with the first cold temperatures, you make kind of a slushy ice and it's a weaker ice. So we're going to be building a foundation of pretty bad ice. If people look for numbers, they'll say, okay, well, if there's more than 2 inches of ice, if you've got 4 inches of ice, maybe we can go out there. Not bad ice. We want good ice. So right now we got less than 2 inches. Just stay off. Just stay off. It'll come. It'll get there. But as it stands right here and right now, it's cold. But we need to be colder for longer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ice has got to, like you said, you got to kind of even build that foundation. So I'm seeing the general rule of thumb: 2 inches, just stay off. Once we get into 4 inches. And it starts to get a little better. Then you're talking 6, 8, 12 to 15. You got a nice little informational chart here for us here.
Well, and again, when we get cold and we stay cold, it's sometimes kind of surprising how fast we can create ice. So even though right now we're telling you to stay off, the next week or so, we might have some areas and some spots that have some better ice conditions for people to go out there. But for now, if you're pheasant hunting, if you're deer hunting, around the edges of those sloughs can be very thin ice. And we just want to make sure, and we talk a lot about gun safety in hunting. Now as we transition, we're going to be talking more and more about ice safety because you get that slushy, really, really submarginal ice conditions. And the problem is that's what you set your foundation on, and it's going to take a while to overcome kind of a weak foundation that we're creating for ice. So want people to get outdoors, want people to stay safe, whether it's with the guns, whether it's on the ice, and that's kind of where we start with things right now.
And so once we do get the thicker, so just to go over your rules, you got 4 inches, good for a walking individual. I noticed you didn't say you and 6 of your buddies with a cooler full of Coors
Right,
Lights.
it's not time to have the fishing derby and put 1,000 people out there.
Yeah.
We got 4 inches of ice. Come on, no. Patience.
Yeah.
Patience
And I feel like that you really are probably. I mean, I try to be a cautious guy just in general because I feel like better safe than sorry. It's my approach on a lot of things. But like, if I'm thinking about this, I'm gonna be hesitant to walk out there no matter what. You know, I like ice is frozen water. Things can happen. If it's been frozen over for some time, and I gotta know that thing's not cracking before I'm like, because what could go wrong? Well, you could die.
Yeah. What could go wrong? You could break through and plunge to an icy cold death.
One of the worst ways possible to die.
We're not here to make a list, but that's definitely on there. If there's going to be a list of ways not to go, I mean, let's be real. Not only, it doesn't have to be drowning, because you can break
freezing.
Right, you break through the ice, and everything you have on is now completely soaked, and hypothermia can set in rapidly. You lose, we were talking about, mittens here before we went on.
Yeah.
You lose control of your fingers. I've had friends that have literally had, their hands turned into basically like hammers.
Oh my God.
And they try to get their keys out of their pocket. And try to get the truck unlocked to get the keys into the ignition.
Nope.
And it happens. And they didn't fall all the way through. They fell in. And then you go up to your waist and everything's soaked, everything's froze, and you're trying to crawl back to your truck and you're trying to use a cell phone. Well, you go outside and get your finger, you got little thumb gloves that you got there.
I hate the thumb gloves.
Yeah.
I have other gloves too.
Well, I want you to model those thumb gloves next week. Next week we're gonna bring a couple different pairs of gloves. We're gonna talk about outdoor.
What's appropriate for
what's
the outdoor?
appropriate?
I got to show you my hat, man. It's unbelievable.
So it's going to be like GQ.
Yeah,
outdoors.
I like that. Style week.
Yeah, style week for the outdoors. We'll bring a couple different functionalities. And one thing I'll also remind you as we we wind things up to is we get so dependent on our cell phones, and I've tried different phones from Pixels to S24s, and you would be amazed how fast the battery dies.
Oh yeah, when it's cold. Sure.
And you'd probably doing that with sports and going, whoa, this thing. I mean, you're outside.
Cameras.
Yeah, right.
I've learned the hard way shooting some games in the cold, whether it's here or Montana. Or I could tell you a story about I was working a Northwestern against Minnesota game at Ryan Field. So that's just north of Chicago in Evanston, Illinois. I'm going to tell you, this is the coldest I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Okay, this wasn't the coldest day, but it made me think about it because you were talking about the water.
Yeah.
So we got there to help set up at like 5, 6 a.m. So it's pretty cold. It's like teens raising into the 20s, and I'm freezing, but I'm layered up. I'm doing what I can, and then my job for the day is they gave me this. You'll see these on a football broadcast on the sidelines, but it looks like a big bowl.
Oh, yeah.
A big see-through bowl. Well, now, what that does is it allows you to hear things. So you can point that at the players, and you're going to be able to hear some of that player chatter.
Is that what you call like the parabolic? Is that?
They didn't tell me what it was. Okay. They just said, "Hey, kid, hold this."
Hold this, kid. Okay.
Yeah. So I go out there, and we're doing the thing, and I'm listening to the huddle. Also, maybe seeing if the cheerleaders are talking about me on the Northwestern sideline.
Who's that cool guy?
Yeah, they weren't. They weren't. Who's that idiot about to freeze to death? And so anyway, it starts to warm up during the game a little bit. And so then it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't so bad. It's more like getting into 29. And then it's like, oh, yeah, it's like 33. I can tolerate this. Then it starts to rain. And then I'm starting to get a little colder because I'm wet.
Yeah.
And then it went back down into the 20s and teens. And so, as you can imagine, the rain that turned to snow, it turned me into a popsicle. And
I'm trying not to laugh.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's funny.
You're not Jay Cutler.
And so I'm out there You know, and then we got to unpack and do all this stuff. And Adlai Stevenson's grandson, great-grandson, gave me a ride home.
Really? Lucky
Weird
for
day.
him.
Yeah, it was a weird day.
Lucky for him.
He was a nice guy. Only time I met that guy. I can't remember. I think he went by Addy. I think it was named after his grandpa or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that weird? But anyway, he was a student at Northwestern. He was helping with the broadcast and Big Ten Network. So it was like a lot of just kind of grunt work for people just trying to get their foot in the industry. But yeah, when you get cold
and wet
and wet at the same time, it is just. I was in the shower for I think 45 minutes. They say don't superheat yourself.
Right.
I did. It was I was just
whatever.
I didn't know what
I'm
to do.
gonna go.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm
and then I laid in my bed for an hour, and I'm like in my winter stuff, covered in blankets, just cold to the bone, man.
And you know the people that don't believe you are the ones that it's never happened to.
Yeah.
Because if it's happened to you, you know exactly what you're talking about, and you never want to experience it.
Exactly. Yeah. Go stand on the sidelines of a football game holding something, because I know guys like. You know, yeah, exactly. Don't. Yeah,
because like trust the man.
In my time shooting sports up here, whether it's me or someone working with me or for me, I would say, hey, if you're shooting outdoors, get your highlights and get back, because you know, no matter how great the game is, safety's going to come first. And it's the same thing. Now, how great the game and fish is, safety is going to come first.
Yeah, and you connect that because it is. It's outdoors, it's recreation, it's fun. But if you don't make some intentional right choices, you could be regretting a lot of the choices that you did make. And you know, don't rely on the cell phones. That you know, that's part of the message, is because if you think, well, I've got my cell phone, you'd be shocked how fast you can go from 90% to 5% to dead in the cold where we live.
Yeah, I've seen it happen.
Yep.
Well, I think we got through some of that. Now, once we get to like half a foot of ice, then we're talking about some serious winter fun, though. And that's still probably a few weeks off.
Right, and it might, you know, depending on how, you know, the weather comes forward, it might be something after Thanksgiving where we got 6 inches of ice out there. But the message right now is we don't.
Yeah.
We don't have it. Don't even go looking for it. There's plenty of things to do. You can keep your feet on solid ground that's not ice, that's the land right now, and there's lots of opportunities to get out there. Ducks and geese are moving around. Pheasant season continues on. The deer season, the final weekend in North Dakota. So yeah, kind of the message as we always usually wrap things up is, you know, stay safe, obey the rules, and enjoy the great outdoors.
Well, and when we do get to where you would feel comfortable going out on the ice, I feel like then we should provide an update for people. For now, just don't.
Yeah, right.
Just don't.
Yeah, don't think about it. Just don't.
Yeah. There's a lot of other things you can do. I think tonight's more of if you're going deer hunting this weekend, more power to you. That's going to be awesome. Tonight, you know, not a bad day to watch the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh.
It's a Wednesday.
If you're looking for
they're
Bucks.
playing the Chicago Bulls. You want to talk about shooting and the Bucks? Well, let's see how they do guarding the Chicago Bulls. They shoot a lot.
We'll find out.
We'll see. And I think they're going to turn it around, but that's a conversation for another day. Anyway, always a pleasure, my man.
Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you all for tuning in. We got Russ Thomas giving an update on the weather and what we can expect on your ride home in just a little bit here. So stay with us on Valley News Live and Valley News Now. We'll see you next time.